Hello, Marta.
What's that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think it's like a no-brainer thing, right? I just.
It is, it's no brainer thing.
Steve said you want to give it to you.
Yeah,
I'll present it. Let me know when we're ready and we'll. just move on.
That's, is that okay? No more echo?
Yep, and we're recording.
Okay, we're gonna call the administrative review meeting to order on the date of July 19th, 2023. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from June 15th, 2023. I've reviewed those and those stand approved. We have three administrative items on the agenda. The first one is consideration and action on final approval of Buffalo Run Subdivision Phase 2, 5 lots. And phase 3, 8 lots located at 2400 south, 4700 west. And Mr. Lleverino, you're going to be presenting that item.
Yes, so this is a subdivision proposal that is in the western Weber area. And the general location is 2400 south, 4700 west. And this is the plan is to get final approval on these two phases, and that will complete this development. The applicant has provided the civil drawings for this, and so they're nearing completion for at least the design of the infrastructure. And phase 1 infrastructure has already been it's already started the installation process. I'm not sure how far along they are, but I know that phase 1 has begun. This request is coming in anticipation that they would be able to start platting this and eventually get the plat recorded pretty soon here. Mr. Chad Buck is here, and he's representing the owner, Mr. Jim Marzial.
Okay.
And so with this proposal, there comes some right-of-way dedication along 4700 West Street. In this case, it's just an additional 10 feet. This will result in 100-foot right of way. It's important to note that the new general plan out there in Western Weber indicates that 4700 West Street is to become actually 120-foot right of way, which would require an additional 10 feet. However, since this development plan is reviewed based on the previous transportation plan, the county planning and engineering will not require that additional 10 feet. Let's see here, this applicant has also provided to us the final will serve letters for secondary and culinary. Annexation into the Central Weaver Sewer District is complete
Oh, okay.
for this, and let's see here. There's one condition in particular that I thought I'd want to touch on just real quickly, where condition number one, or let's see here. Where's the condition? Has to do with the final. Okay, it must not be in this version, but I would recommend approval with an added condition on top of what we already have there, that the final subdivision plats for phases 2 and 3 are submitted. The reason why I felt like it's a
That's not
good,
number one.
excuse me,
That's number one.
is that number one? Okay, I must be working on an old version, but okay, good. So it sounds like it's already in the report. The reason I felt that this development is ready for final approval, even though they don't technically have the final subdivision plat for phases 1 and 2, is because they've gone back and forth on different iterations, and they've actually, with their previous iteration that reflects what they have now, they went pretty far. They went as far as getting approval from the county surveyors, and so I felt like their plan already meets the survey requirements. In my mind, they're good to go in that regard. So, and Mr. Chadbuck is actually working with his surveyor to get us that final plat. It should be coming in any day now. So it's
All right. Thanks, Felix. Chad, do you have any comments?
No, I just wanted to make sure we stayed, everything was just the same. There wasn't any surprises, so.
All right. Well, I don't see any issues with this. I'm gonna recommend approval of Buffalo Run Subdivision Phase 2 and 3, subject to conditions 1 through 6. And specifying that condition 1 is a final plat for each phase is submitted and approved with the findings outlined in the staff report. All right, we move on to item number 2, consideration and action on final approval of Powder Point Subdivision consisting of 7 lots located at 8630 Meridian Avenue. Mr. Burton, will you present it?
Yes,
You guys think.
so I'll see if I can put this on the screen in case you want to see the plat, but this is a subdivision in the Powder Mountain Resort area in the DRR1 zone off of Meridian Avenue. The proposal is for 7 single-family lots and 1 common area parcel that is intended to have a some kind of recreational amenity for the people in that subdivision. As we look at Powder Mountain, one of the first things, at least that I look at, is the development agreement to make sure that this proposal meets the intent of the development agreement and also matches or closely follows the concept development plan. You may remember a few months back, it was actually probably the end of 2022. They made an amendment to Area C, which they call Earl's Village.
That's right.
So that this could be platted. So you'll see that it is kind of a grainy image. I wish I could have got a better image for the staff report, but that yellow color is single family, and then orange is multifamily. And then you get mixed use when you get into the red, but you see this particular area is in a yellow spot for single family. They're only allowed to plat 114 single family units. With this proposal, they'll be at 68 for this particular development area. So They haven't gone over. Water and sewer is being provided by Powder Mountain Water and Sewer Improvement District.
Okay.
They've actually gone in on Frontier, something that we don't always see them do, but they've gone in and marked approved on Frontier.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, yeah, and the developer has also supplied a capacity assessment letter from them, which is typically the requirement to provide before you receive a final approval. As just kind of a policy we have, I will reach out to the district to make sure they're comfortable with recording the subdivision plat, because I don't believe the district's signature was on the plat, but the district also wasn't requiring that.
Okay.
So we'll just make sure they're okay to record it before it records. Let's see here. They are, when this subdivision was submitted, one of the review comments was from planning and fire, was that they provide adequate snow storage. You'll remember last year there was an incident where on one of these really narrow roads, it was hard for the fire district to access the subdivision because the roads were so narrow, because they were just pushing snow to the side of the road. So it wasn't, we didn't schedule any kind of approval for this meeting until fire was satisfied that their snow storage would be taken care of. So you can see they provided 2 areas for snow storage, one on lot 6, one on lot 5. And then they've also are showing a snow storage easement and common area, this common area, which is nice because it could be just pushed straight through at that location. Fire seems to be okay with that. I like this option. It's to me, it seems like a little bit more snow storage than they usually do, which is good. They're proposing private streets. They initially came in before applying in our bi-weekly meetings and brought this up with us, that they were, they wanted to make sure it met the concept plan. We asked them, I think they were initially wanting to have it be a cul-de-sac. We asked them to make it come back out onto Meridian, but it will be private street. They will be responsible to maintain the streets to a reasonable standard for those residents. The applicant has a Mylar in. It's not quite ready for signature. There are still some things that our engineer's office is looking at, although they are comfortable with this being approved administratively, so long as the subdivision plat doesn't record until they're happy, and which won't happen anyway, because they won't sign the plat once they're okay with it. But let me think if there's anything else. The lot sizes meet the so for the DRR1 zone for single family, there's no minimum lot size. There's also no minimum lot width. We will be looking at about a 5-foot front setback when those houses come in, when they do get submitted. But from my review and from what I can tell, this complies with the general plan. It also complies with the development agreement, and you'll see in the staff report, there's a recommendation for approval based on the review agency requirements. Let's see if I can rotate. Yeah.
Can you go back to the plat?
Sure. Maybe.
So from what I remember, there we go. These 4 lots on the south side.
Yeah, 7, 6, 5, and 4.
Doesn't it slope down quite a bit
It does.
to at the back of the lots?
They've supplied, sorry, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. They have provided initially with this plat, there are some things they still needed to address with this plat, and they have been addressed with the Mylar. For example, they don't even call this lot a lot.
I noticed that because I was looking at the lots and I see
7.
lot 6.
Yeah. So on the revised copy, we've got, they're all, so it's 7, 6, 5, and 4.
Okay.
And then I also made a comment that they have addressed, which is we don't do our lots anymore. The developer is responsible to make sure that they either provide a geotechnical report that says how they can build on steep slopes, or they have to provide a buildable area. So fortunately with this subdivision application, we do have a geotechnical report,
Oh,
and the subdivision plat references that report.
So those Rs will be taken off?
Yeah, they are taken off on the
Okay.
Mylar.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then that large common area in the middle, will that be allowed for snow storage? It's not identified.
It's not identified, and I don't think they've anticipated that to be used for snow storage.
That's just a question I had.
Sure.
Okay, well, thanks, Steve. I don't see a problem with this. I'll recommend approval subject to all review agencies, comments being addressed and the findings outlined in the staff report. Thank you.
Thanks.
And the last item is consideration and action. Request for final approval of the Westwood Homes #2 subdivision. And you're going to be presenting in for Marta.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, so this is a one-lot subdivision located at 1900 North and 7600 East in the Eden/Huntsville area. Mr. Westwood came in a few years ago and did a few lots off of 1900, and he's wanting to carve out one more. The proposed lot 1 is located in the AV3 zone. The proposed lot, technically it's lot 5 is what they're calling it, since it's the second phase of the homestead. Lot 5 is 3 acres and 240 feet wide. The water is proposed to be provided by a private well, and they're proposing to also use a septic system. One of the requirements for a well, there are actually 2 requirements for a well. One is that they show proof of let me see if I can pull up the plat here. They show proof of a 48-hour pump test for the well, and they have not done that. They will have to do that before the subdivision plat can record. That's one of the conditions of approval. Another requirement for having a well, it's a newer requirement, is that there be a covenant recorded on the property that specifies to any future owner how much water can be used for irrigation. And in this case, it's quite a bit. I think it's almost 8,000 square feet, but we still will definitely record that so that future owners know that. There is some road dedication being provided here. As we looked at the location of this property in relation to existing streets, public streets and street blocks, one thing we discussed with the county engineer was whether or not he feels that a street block needs to be formed. As we looked at this as staff, one of the things we noticed was it still is pretty undeveloped, and there's 3 streams that run through the property. One of the things that we talked about was, whether or not we think a public street needs to be formed. The county engineering office didn't feel so at this time, just because of those existing streams. As planning staff, we feel that when probably the next subdivision that they submit, we're going to need to get some kind of block formation along this, the west side of the property. Even if there is a stream there, we feel if we could get the dedication, it'll still allow us future opportunities to provide those connections. I believe Mr. Westwood, who the applicant, understands that. But right now, for their improvement of 1900, they're proposing just that street dedication.
Okay.
The county engineer is okay with a deferral agreement on 1900 North and 7900 East. So neither of those it's not a dead end street. It's not a terminal street, but it is substandard. County engineer at this time has chosen to say no improvement necessary, but a deferral agreement is required. Because it's not a dead end, we didn't need to look at maximum number of lots because 7900 connects back down into the Huntsville area.
Okay.
The applicants provided a feasibility letter from the health department. The health department will need to sign the subdivision plat to finally approve that type of septic system. Staff recommendation is approval based on the review agency review agency requirements and the conditions that are in the staff report, which have gone over, and it's based on the findings in the staff report.
Well, I don't see any problem with this either. I appreciate giving the information on the block requirements, and that they're aware of that in the future. I recommend approval of this, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report and the findings. All right, and this meeting stands adjourned.